Hello, fellas. It is Perry. It's been a minute, so let's just hop right in. Today we're going to be deciding what if Russia has won World War One. Now, obviously, this is a little bit of a tough task. I'm not going to change any history before 1914, but yeah, how do we do this? So basically, we all know Russia, sort of the paper tiger. Big army, big population, but not good long-term logistics for fighting a war. So basically, how we're gonna have Russia win is we're just gonna have the Entente win faster, and for Russia to make like less obvious, dumb early mistakes. And yeah, you're just gonna see. So yeah, so the war starts the same. Austria, Germany declare war on Serbia. And then Russia and France. So I'll just map this out real quick. Okay, and so also by the way, just look at this 1914 map. How about you? This looks gorgeous to me. This map, yeah, these Africa borders, man. I just made this by the way, so hopefully we enjoy that. But yeah, so the war's gonna start the same way. The little crisis down here, the July crisis, and then Russia's gonna mobilize, and then while Russia's mobilizing, Germany is going to do their little Schlieffenplan thing. Um, but we're already going to see the first change, which is that instead of declaring war on just Belgium and Luxembourg, they actually complete the full original Schlieffenplan and invade the Netherlands as well. Now, this was in the plan to help invade Belgium, sort of like what they did in the Second World War. They didn't do it in our timeline because the Netherlands was good for circumnavigating trade, and also there just wasn't really a point, and the king of Germany just and the royal house had good relations, so why destroy a friendly nation? But in this timeline, Germany's like, you know what, it's worth it. We're gonna knock out Belgium quickly, and yeah, let's do this. And so obviously this goes most like our time in Luxembourg is occupied basically right away, and yeah, the invasion of the Dutch helps out a little bit, but again, the Germans are mostly concentrated down here in Belgium, and this is going to be important. They don't necessarily have a large army in the Netherlands. Yeah, obviously, also Britain is going to get involved in the like our timeline, just because Britain does not like these neutral boys getting invaded. Okay, so now that's all that mapped out. And obviously Germany is going to do a bit better than our timeline. The Dutch do help. They can now attack Belgium on all sides, and they just get ever so slightly further in northern France and towards Paris. But obviously, it's still not gonna do. It's not gonna work. Yes. So they also almost capitulate Belgium as well. Um, but again, they're really heavily trying to gamble on winning Paris. And this is going to be important because maybe this would have been more beneficial if they could at least occupy the lowlands and areas of the sea. But because their attacks near Paris keep getting repelled, Germany sort of blows this opportunity. And yeah, and Northern Netherlands also going to be occupied. Now, while all this is going on, obviously Austria is doing their thing against Serbs, losing. But Russia is going to basically play things a little smarter. They so in our timeline they had two plans, one war plan against Germany and one against Austria, and they tried to go to both. They'd try to do both at the same time. Didn't really work out. But in this timeline, we're going to say that Russia really pounces on or I'm gonna say like they don't try to spread themselves thin. They see Austria struggling with the Serbs, and they decide to go ham on it. So Galicia, it gets invaded, and so yeah, they don't try to pushed in Germany. They focused solely on Galicia, and it is absolutely devastating for Austria. Austria cannot handle this at all. They are pushed all the way to the Carpathians. Um, yeah, even up here they start reaching parts of Slovakia. And this also forces German attention actually quicker than our timeline because Germany, the Russians didn't lose a bunch of their forces trying to attack Germany. And Germany pretty quickly sees that, hey, Austria might be pretty cooked. So Germany kind of has to start its own offensive into Russian Poland. So, yeah. And obviously, the front lines, Germany doesn't like Paris either. So, yep, front line stabilized. And most importantly, the British, with the help of the Dutch, they're actually, since Germany didn't focus on the Netherlands that much, the Dutch are actually able to hold their. Is this Amsterdam? I don't know. Yeah, this is like a core Dutch territory. So yeah, and they're actually able to hold this for most of the war, which is gonna obviously hurt Germany. The loss of trade gonna hurt Germany, and also obviously the more forces needed to occupy the Netherlands. This is just gonna be something that's just gonna make things a little harder for the Central Powers long term. And yeah, at the end of 1914, it already looks a lot better for the Entente. Germany is not even close to taking Warsaw just yet. And while the Ottomans still join, they're the Ottomans. They're not going to do anything of that much note. Also, I'm just going to color in the colonies as being taken. I know this wouldn't happen. Whoa. This wouldn't happen right away, but would happen eventually, so we're just going to color that in. And yeah, 1915. And yeah, that's the end of 1914 and the beginning of 1915. So what I'm going to do with this series is I'm going to basically split it into three parts. We're going to split it into World War One. We're going to split it, and then we're going to do a video on the pre-war, and then the finale is going to be the World War, which you're going to see. I have this whole thing mapped out. Alright, trust me, guys. Just trust the process. Germany tries to do some offensives in the Baltics, although again the Russian army wasn't nearly as neutered, and they retreat a bit from the Courland area, but this is mostly for defensive, and yeah, Russia's just putting up solid defense, unlike in our timeline. Now this is when we're going to see the second big change of this timeline. Now Greece and Serbia, they had an alliance sort of before the war, but the Greek king was the one sort of hesitating to join the Entente, while the prime minister wanted to join. Wanted to join the Entente, and the Greek king leaned Central Powers, though in reality just want to stay neutral. And in this timeline, we're gonna say that Russia had good relations with the Greek king, so they didn't want anything to happen to them. But we're going to say in this timeline, Russia is a bit more pragmatic and is like, yeah, go crazy. And also, we're going to assume the prime minister gets more political clout, we could say. And just overall, Greece is more open to intervening, especially maybe if an Entente army, lands in Athens. And we're just going to say that one way or another, Greece, after the Ottomans joined the war, this is sort of the final straw for Greece, as Greece joins the war on the Entente. Also, the Ottomans try an offensive in the Caucasus, and you already know that's going to fail hard. And this is just another area where Russia can get pretty solid wins here. So, yep. And on these other fronts, the British, they don't invest that much, actually, in the Middle East, because but, well, no, I misspoke. Yeah, same thing happens. Ottomans, minor losses, but nothing that crazy down here. So yeah, 1915 hitting up. What else? Also, I'm not gonna map like South America joining the war. I know things happen down here. Something always happens, but no, we're not gonna map that. Because like if Brazil joins the Entente, like who cares? Who cares? So yeah, Italy's doing their thing, joining Montenegro. We know. Also Japan joined. But yeah, so Italy is here, putting even more pressure on Austria-Hungary, even if they're not gonna do all too much. Um, and yeah, so Germany, they do still push a little bit. They do eventually push the Russians back, although it is a much fiercer fight. They hold on to Warsaw for longer, but eventually Germany does still overrun Poland because the Russian army is still fundamentally very weak. And even though this scenario is about them winning, Germany is always going to have this little initial advantage, we could say. But also, these losses really don't matter that much for the Russian Empire. And now we're going to see the next biggest and final change of this scenario, which is Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria noticed that Greece is the Entente, and also maybe I don't know how Gallipoli would have went, but yeah, obviously Greece being here maybe we could even say like Greece did like a landing here. I don't know, just yeah, something down here. So yeah, we could say Greece just did something down here. Um, but Bulgaria notices that hey, I mean this war's the Germans are still winning. Let's be honest, but at least on the ground. But you know but like it's and basically what happens is that two things. Number one, the Ottomans make it very clear, hey Bulgaria, we're not going to give you any territory at all in Thrace. No territory in Thrace at all. And then the second thing that happens is that Serbia and also basically the Entente tell Bulgaria, hey, this is our offer. We're going to make it a lot more clear to you. This was their offer in our timeline, but Serbia and Greece made it pretty clear they weren't working. But basically, they tell Bulgaria, like, hey, we'll give you your Macedonian stuff and Thrace if you join the Entente. And, while this is less than what the Central Powers are offering, joining the Entente is also a lot safer for Bulgaria because, you know, they're not really surrounded, right? They're surrounded, especially because, like, you have a whole alliance with you. You're not really too intensive of fighting. But point is that also just Bulgaria joins the Entente and also their promise Thrace and even Constantinople. Although that's not going to be promise that might be kept. So yeah, Bulgaria joins the Entente, and this is where this is big. Since now all the Balkans is in the Entente, which kind of means that the Ottomans are fairly screwed. Yeah, so Thrace overran basically immediately. So yeah, so Bulgaria reaches the gates of Constantinople, and this time we also see sort of a Gallipoli campaign, although this time in the west of Anatolia. Greek and Commonwealth forces all land, I guess, up here on the other side of the strait, and yeah, they just basically take it, and they're about to just push to Constantinople. Um, and also the Arab Revolt happens still. So we still see the Arab Revolt. And basically, as you can tell, the Ottomans are on the brink of collapse. Now, obviously, Germany and Austria, they sort of see what's about to happen. So they decide to knock out the Balkans in one little offensive, which they sort of did in our timeline when Germany sent their elite forces down here. And they do push into Serbia a good bit. Serbia can't hold forever. But they 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 just on time now that Bulgaria's in the war, they can sort of just hold the Macedonian mountains. And so the Germans and Austro-Hungarians are not particularly able to hold this. Now, something that important that happens, since most of Serbia is occupied, either by the Austro-Hungarians or by these, the Entente, Serbia is basically a war ground. Bulgaria pulls a little sneaky, and we could say, yeah. So Bulgaria decides that, hey, might as well, and they just take Macedonia. They basically just occupy Macedonia, and just decide, like, look, we can take it, who cares, what is Serbia gonna do? And, this is definitely protested by, a lot of the Entente, particularly Greece and obviously Serbia, but they're in the middle of a war, what are they gonna do? Let's be honest. So yeah, obviously, Ottomans, meanwhile, Constantinople's besieged, and, I think we already know, yeah, they're gonna surrender. Now what you're seeing is the Ottomans, they have surrendered, and this is basically all the blue is just all the territory that the Entente are currently occupying, and yeah, they're going to decide the fate of the Ottoman Empire post-war, but for now they're just sort of holding on to this territory. And so yeah, we're entering 1916. Over these years, Austria would have slowly got Galicia back, but they didn't even recover from this in our timeline, let alone in this one. So yeah. And also, another important thing the collapse of the Ottomans does is that it allows the Entente to do shipping lanes over here from Russia to the west. So that's going to delay the collapse, and also massively increases the Russian morale, which is also important. So yeah, so. But Germany still does do their little push thing. Germany does Germany things. And, yeah, they get this little territory here. But it's not as bad as our timeline. So we're pushing 1916, and we all know Germany is already considering basically throwing in the towel. Not necessarily Germany. Germany's willing to fight on, but, you know, obviously there's more nations that did include, like, China or South America. But it's basically just the Germanics versus the rest of the world. So, yeah, that's, everyone can kind of see it's not going to end so hot, even if they are winning a little bit right now. This British blockade is absolutely killing them. Just completely killing the Central Powers right now. And, yep, so Commonwealth forces, they push back down here in the Balkans as Austria sort of destabilizes. Although not necessarily that much yet. And basically what happens is that Austria-Hungary starts making, we could say, backdoor deals to try to sue for peace, sort of like what they tried in our timeline. Also, Romania would probably join the war by some point, yeah. And they wouldn't be overrun this time. Now, we all have to talk about the elephant in the room, Russia, the Russian government. So obviously, if Russia wins World War I, the Bolsheviks are not going to take charge. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the Tsarist autocracy takes full charge either. And so what we kind of see is we still actually see the whole, like, was it the February or I don't remember which revolution it was, but eventually the Republic is gonna they're gonna try to establish a republic in Russia, but basically with the war obviously going a bit better, the Tsar being a little more popular because of that, because of the defeat of the Ottomans, they come to an agreement which is basically sort of a lighter version of what the Kaiser had, which was that Russia is going to be a constitutional monarchy. They're going to have like a balance between the Tsar, the courts, the liberals, whatever. And this is, so yeah, just keep that in mind for future. It's not going to show on the map, but that's basically what's going to happen with the Russian Revolution. And that basically keeps Russia a lot more stable. So instead of a pure republic or pure autocracy, we have sort of a mixed system, you know. And yep. So now the true breaking point we're gonna see that really gets this is gonna be the battle Brusilov offensive. Brusilov's offensive still happens. Um, with decent Russian success. Obviously, Germany's also going to try. The Battle of Verdun in the west, particularly Austrian morale is very low. Even Romania's pushing in after this offensive. Italy too. So, eventually, I'm not gonna spoil it that much, but obviously Austria and like the Entente, not the Entente, the Central Powers, they can't hold just this giant eastern line, and it's not gonna work. The writing's on the wall. And eventually, it reaches Berlin. Now Austria's trying to get peace. They could force Austria to stay, but eventually, even Germany, they kind of have to sue for peace. So we officially get the end of the war and the early Central Power surrender. Let's say around early 1917. So the Great War wasn't the longest, as long as our Great War, but yeah, let's just see what happens. Okay, and over here Russia gains Memel, um, and obviously also they get land pushing into Germany a bit. They move their borders a little, just some border adjustments. Another big thing that you might notice is that there's new autonomy. There's Finland and Poland. Finland sort of half declared independence because they were tied to the Russian crown. So they're sort of an autonomy of Russia, but so yeah, I just drew this in. Yeah, so we have see Finland, and then like Finland, there's also a new crown, Poland, which the king is still Tsar Nicholas, but Poland is still technically autonomous and separate now from the Russian Empire. So, so yeah, this has brought back the Polish autonomy. Galicia fully taken by Russia. Otherwise, Austria-Hungary mostly collapsed the same way. Whether or not the communists still do their thing in Hungary doesn't actually make much of a difference. But the difference we do see, actually, this is going to be interesting. Um, we see Yugoslavia is a little smaller than our timeline, with Italy getting Dalmatia and Macedonia staying with Bulgaria. And this is because with Russia as a great power, Britain actually favors Italy a bit more in the peace deal, as sort of a counterwork in the Balkans against Russian influence in Serbia, basically just a Russian in the Russian sphere. Serbia. So yeah, we still have Yugoslavia. Um, Romania still expanded, although they obviously don't get Moldova and Bessarabia because yeah, this is Russian land. What do you mean? Yeah, they're not gonna get that. Russia's not gonna cede their land. Russia also gets Carpatho-Ruthenia, which in our time went to the Czechs because no one else was really a candidate to take it. But in this timeline, there's a candidate, which is Russia, and fits and was ethnically Ukrainian, so yeah, joins the Russian Empire. Bulgaria, they get so this is gonna be interesting. This down here in the peace treaty, also colony still the same. Um, this is gonna be interesting. We're gonna see basically so a few things. First of all, the Ottoman treaty is actually gonna be enforced because even if Ataturk tried his thing, the Russian army not going to allow it. Also, the French and British are less exhausted, so they can easily enforce this. So this is still the Ottoman Empire. We do not have the Turkish Republic. We have the Ottoman Empire, obviously under strict French, Russian, Italian, British, Greek supervision. But yeah, and right now the Straits. Now Britain really does not want the Straits to go to Russia, but this is sort of the main thing Russia's after for the Third Realm, and also for access just to the Straits, Mediterranean. And so Britain decides that, alright, Russia, we'll give you Constantinople, but, you gotta give Bulgaria most of Thrace, and also Greece, all these islands and stuff. And basically, so Britain still has some degree of control. Also, Britain gets shipping rights through the Bosphorus, so it's not all bad, but still, technically, this is under Russian control. Bulgaria got its claims in Thrace, because there wasn't really anyone else to get it to. And Greece, um, they got the land in western Turkey they wanted, although they're still probably a bit annoyed about this. So you can serve. So Bulgaria, if you can keep your the land you won, good luck, Bulgaria. Kurds, technically independent, although really just French and British puppet. Um, Middle East, same as our timeline. Saudi, same as our timeline. Italy gets this, and then Russia expands Armenia. Um, yeah. So that's basically it for this timeline. China obviously is a mess, but I'm not mapping all that out. Maybe if I do a part two. But also, yeah, this is a different map. Sorry. Other than that, yeah. So this is basically the Russia wins World War One. Hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe I'll do part two. I don't know. I'll see. All right. Goodbye.